Alright Toyotaro, we've got two incredibly successful Dragon Ball movies, and we want to make sequels to one of the greatest anime of all time. How would you like to team up with Toriyama and make the manga version of Dragon Ball Super? Make a sequel to Dragon Ball? Team up with Toriyama? I mean, that's been a dream my whole life. I would love to make new adventures for Goku, come up with new stories and enemies. Whoa, hold your horses. Original arcs. First, you're going to have to adapt the movies we just made. But I just finished adapting half of the movie. Do I have to draw that thing again? I guess that's true. It'll make the Super Manga an overall unfinished product, but I guess you can skip Resurrection F. I'll do my best so the animators know exactly how to adapt it. Ah, see, that's where you're wrong. We're not going to be adapting your manga into a new anime series. We're both going to be adapting Toriyama's notes into the same story interpreted different ways. Why? Because we have 2 months to get this out! Dragon Ball Super is weird. The powers that be looked at the success behind 2 Dragon Ball movies and wanting to capture that hype, greenlit not only an anime sequel to Dragon Ball Z, perhaps the most influential anime of all time, but a manga sequel too. It's crazy to think about it now, but there was just a few months between the release of Resurrection F and the release of Dragon Ball Super. Debuting 2 weeks before its anime counterpart, the Dragon Ball Super manga began serialization on the 20th of June 2015 on V-Jump. It was a strange time, as unlike the original anime, the Super anime wouldn't be adapting the manga. Instead, both mediums would interpret the stories and outlines set out by Toriyama in their own ways. And while the Super anime had a myriad of people with different ideas and visions on what Dragon Ball should be, the manga was a little bit more streamlined, as Toyotaro would take Toriyama's notes and ideas, create a draft, and submit it for Toriyama to review and correct. In essence, the manga just had a few less cooks in the kitchen. But if you look into the fandom, the subject of the Super manga can be a little controversial. You may love it, you may hate it, or just be completely indifferent. But as we go more and more time without any new Dragon Ball content, there seems to have been a small resurgence of people going back and reading this version of the story. Personally, I may even prefer the manga over the anime overall, though it's not perfect. Either way, hey SmugStick, it's everyone, and today I'll be going over some of the absolute best the Dragon Ball Super manga has to offer, though I'm gonna put a pin on Moro and Granola, since there is no anime counterpart to it, as much as I love them, especially the Moro arc. Let's begin. The Tournament of Power is one of the most insane arcs I've watched, simply because of the discourse surrounding it, and just how many twists and turns it had. Sure, most fighters ended up being pretty one-note and lame, but things like Ultra Instinct Goku vs Jiren and the final rush with Frieza made the arc totally worth it. You know what would have made it even better? Seeing Beerus in an all-out brawl against the other gods of destruction. In one of the absolute coolest moments in the manga, right after Goku convinces the Omni King to hold the Tournament of Power, the Grand Priest stops him, sending a message to all the gods of destruction, as we get to see a little bit more of a glimpse at each one of their personalities and universes being teleported into the ring. This is a great showcase of different characters, like Beerus and Quitella having a Tom and Jerry rivalry, and Champa claiming that he hasn't trained in decades. Apparently, Beerus also nearly got them all killed thousands of years ago when he fell asleep during a hide-and-seek match. Added to the fact that it was a being from Universe 7 that was the catalyst of this whole mess, and Beerus has a giant target on his back. The battle begins, and every single god of destruction rushes at Beerus. But Beerus' body can move as if it's instinct, and slowly the battle explodes into chaos. Beerus uses dirty tricks, such as using Champa as a decoy. Belmont traps the others in bubbles before firing playing cards like Gambit.
Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself here.
Liqueur uses his many tails as key blasters, and much more. Every god has their own way of doing things. The fight ends when the last 2 standing are Quitella and Beerus, with the Grand Priest stopping them both with a single finger, as Zeno had gotten bored. It's amazing to see these characters actually do something, besides just watching their universes get destroyed, and especially getting a chance to watch Beerus fight after so long. Going backwards in time, or maybe forward if you're taking Trunks' time machine, the Goku Black arc is a very different beast in the manga. That could be a video all on its own. Beginning with Zamazu's introduction, we get a fight we could have never gotten anywhere else. Kibito versus Zamazu, the 2 Kaioshin attendants. Zamazu is able to easily overpower Kibito, but it's great to see him actually do something for a change. There is a lot of respect between them, and the hatred Zamasu has for mortals is already apparent. In one of my favorite jokes from the arc, Once Goku Black begins his attack, both Beerus and Shin worry that it could actually be Kibito in Goku's body because of the prejudice he holds against mortals. Man, Dragon Ball Super is taking a lot out of me, but I wonder if I'll ever get to finish the Dragon Ball Heroes Victory Mission manga I was doing. I was having a lot of fun with it. Dragon Ball Heroes manga. You know that game makes up 30% of our country's GDP? We don't need a manga to promote it. We just need to have Raditz turn into a Super Saiyan 4 and watch the money flow. Speaking of those mortals parading as gods, Future Trunks' backstory is explored a lot deeper in the manga. In the anime, we got a brief explanation of his fights against Dabura and Babidi, but in the manga, we get to see some of his training with the Sea Sword, with Trunks and Shin actually seeming like friends. The battle against the Majins is difficult, with the Sea Sword getting turned into stone, Kibito dying, and Dabura torturing Shin, ultimately pushing Trunks into Super Saiyan 2. And with the help of a paralyzing spell from Shin, Trunks finally kills the Majins. Sadly, the Supreme Kai succumbs to his wounds, meaning that Beerus also dies in this timeline, giving Goku Black the opening he needs to begin his Zero Mortals plan. But that's not where it ends, because the plot point of Trunks training with the Supreme Kai returns during the final battle. When Goku and Vegeta are in a pinch, Shin comments on how he wishes he was still a Kaioshin apprentice, as they have the ability to heal. Trunks then realizes that he had undergone a ritual prior to training with Shin, a ritual which made him a Kaioshin apprentice, giving him the ability he needed to heal his friends and ultimately save the world. Thankfully, this backstory was adapted into the DLC for Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. But there's more things that the Goku Black arc in the manga does better, like Goku not actually forgetting the Mafuba seal. Sure, he ends up grabbing the wrong one, but at least it makes Goku look like a little bit less of an idiot. He also gets to do the Mafuba in the manga, something which we never got to see in the anime. The battles against Fuse Zamasu itself is also epic in the manga. Things like Trunks slashing down Zamasu and splitting the fusion between Black and the Kai. The way Infinite Zamasu is represented by a whole army of Zamasu. And even a gag where one of the Goku Black clones is actually Monaka. Meaning that yes, in one universe out there, Zamasu really did believe Monaka was the strongest in Universe 7. The thing most people talk about when it comes to this arc is Goku using the Hakai. And it is an amazing panel, where Goku attempts Beerus' move, though it fails, since he was just winging it. And you can't destroy an immortal. But there is some issues. In the manga, Goku technically never got to see Beerus do it. So while Beerus does kill Zamasu with the Hakai in the present, unlike the anime, Goku isn't there to see it. You could easily explain it away by saying that he probably saw it off screen, but it really just tells me that somewhere in between the manga and the anime, there's a slightly more complete story. Still, it's really cool. You know another thing we gotta thank the manga for? Naming and renaming forms. Remember how for months after Resurrection F, we had no option but to call Blue Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan? Many games still stick with that. We have to thank MangaWiz for renaming it into Super Saiyan Blue for our sake. And I'm gonna talk about this fight later on, but recently in the manga, Goten finally gave an in-universe name to Gohan's ultimate form. Before that, it technically didn't have one. Speaking of forms, Dragon Ball Super's premiere state ended up being Ultra Instinct. It's already amazing in the anime with its theme, the way it moves, and the stillness behind Goku's eyes. But one thing I prefer in the manga is how Goku gets it. This one is a bit controversial, since at first glance it's the most insane thing in the world, and it might really be, but I love it nonetheless. While Goku is struggling against Jiren, Master Roshi gives him some advice. He can't just focus on raw battle power as a way to overcome this wall. That isn't the reason they train in martial arts. They do it to overcome themselves over and over again. Roshi has to remind Goku of what every one of his masters had taught him until then. Master Korin, Popo and Kami, King Kai, and Whis. It had all led up to this. And Roshi shows what he means, dodging and weaving through Jiren's attacks, impressing both Whis and Beerus. The principles of Ultra Instinct are there, but Roshi can't avoid it all. It's once the Turtle Hermit gets taken out of the ring, when Goku finally puts those lessons into motion, achieving Ultra Instinct Omen. Sure, Roshi dodging Jiren is hard to buy at first, but I love the sentiment behind it. After all, Jiren has to severely hold back, otherwise he would kill Roshi. But by doing so, he also underestimates him. Forcing Goku to look back through his history is just genius, even if the line about Goku being the worst student, I feel just isn't that accurate. It's a heartfelt moment, with a character who doesn't get a lot of chances to shine. That chapter is also just filled with cool things, like instead of Goku being the one to fight Kefla, it's Gohan, who promises to continue growing down his own path. Don't get me wrong, Gohan vs. Dispo in the anime is great, but giving him the fight against Kefla Kefla instead feels a little bit more impactful, even if it's not a very long fight. There's also one more difference I like better in the manga, but it isn't really about the anime, but instead a movie. I love Dragon Ball Superhero. It's one of the best Dragon Ball movies, but I think that overall, as a story, I may actually like the manga's version better. Hey Toyotaro, I know we decided against adapting Resurrection F, but how would you like to adapt Superhero? Oh, that could be fun. I loved Superhero. It was a great adventure. Maybe I could make up some stuff for Goten and Trunks to do. But we didn't adapt Broly. Isn't that gonna be confusing for people? We made a Broly movie? Why didn't we adapt that? Turn that into a chapter. What? It's overall pretty similar, but with a whole mini prologue arc about Goten and Trunks, whom I love seeing getting screen time. It is small, mostly slice of life and superhero themed, but it gives context to the story in the movie, and Dr. Hedo. Not only that, but the kids get their own great Saiyaman personas, and we get to see characters like Bra and Marin again. We get a new set of zombie androids, the reason Dr. Hedo was in prison in the movie, and even Beta, an android who infiltrates the school. Having the kids as a focal point means we get settings and adventures that we wouldn't have gotten otherwise, like a superhero zombie fight in a haunted mansion, and even a battle at school. The Cell Max fight is even more epic, as the Saiyaman team up with the Gammas, and everyone helps out in keeping Cell Max grounded during the final special beam cannon, such as Krillin and 18 breaking apart Cell's wing. They even fix the little annoying line where Goku doesn't understand that Vegeta is meditating for some reason, and we get a really cool fight between Vegeta and Broly, where he slowly shows signs of control. I know it was hard to swallow while it was being released, pause, with the whole waiting every month just to read a story we've already had, but now that it's complete and we can read it all the way through with no wait time, I just think it's too much fun to ignore. There is issues, of course. I mean, Krillin gets defeated by Hachimaru, and it really annoys me. But what really sold me on the superhero arc in the manga is the amazing epilogue. This isn't in the movie at all, so it's brand new material. Carmine tricks the kids into taking him to Gohan's place, where the Saiyan explodes into Beast upon seeing them. Goku senses this, teleports to Earth, and requests to fight in this new form. So we get our first look at Goten, Trunks, and Gohan at Beerus' planet, where Gohan first faces off against Goten and Trunks, who even has a powerful chat with Gohan mid-battle, a clear reference to the relationship between future Trunks and future Gohan. After it, Gohan faces Goku's Ultra Instinct, and it's amazing. Gohan is actually able to push back Goku. Afterwards, Broly wants to fight Gohan, but putting all these Saiyans together in one place really riles them up, as Goten and Trunks get into the fight. Then Vegeta joins in. It's a very unique moment where we see Saiyans and their battle tendencies in a really sweet light, as they're bonding through what they're best at. The chapter ends with Goku, Gohan, and Piccolo going to pick up Pan from school. There is no dialogue, just Toyotaro's drawings, ending it all with a smile and away from Piccolo onto new adventures. The Dragon Ball Super Manga is on hiatus now, and who knows when or if it will return. If it does come back, it may be in a completely different way than we know it. With Akira Toriyama's passing, this final chapter is a little goodbye from him to us and the Dragon World, at least until Daima comes out. It's bittersweet, but if this is the end of Dragon Ball Super for now, I think it's an incredible way to do it. In fact, Toyotaro revealed that one of the last corrections Toriyama gave him was the last few panels with Piccolo. With no new chapters coming out, I really do recommend you take this chance to go back and check out the Dragon Ball Super Manga if you haven't. Anyways, thanks for watching everyone, don't forget to share with your friends who like Dragon Ball, and let me know below if you'd like me to make a video similar to this, but the other way around. What the anime did better than the manga. Maybe I could even do one on Z. Thanks for watching! Well, I guess I could go back to drawing participants of the Other World tournament. I'm sure readers would find that really thrilling.